You touched upon this issue where you said people essentially go to live in their own networks.
Right.
And actually you mentioned that the president himself holds the media accountable for that, and you had a rebuttal.
Well, he gave a speech earlier this week this is a prize, the Toner Prize, in honor of Robin Toner, who's a very distinguished political reporter who passed away a number of years ago. She worked for the New York Times and was known for doing great in-depth journalism and very thoughtful journalism, very fair journalist. And so he used the opportunity to scold the press for being too driven by clicks and also to talk about how the public is now drawn to these sites that only affirm their pre-existing point of view, and that they live in a virtual reality. Some of the same points that I made. And I agree with him on the facts of it, and I agree with him on the principles. What I have a problem with is that I believe he himself has been a contributor to the issue in a number of different ways, is that he has a tendency, and his staff has a tendency to have him give interviews primarily to sites that are, some of which are highly click-driven and do far less original reporting than we do. It's not that they don't do any, they do original reporting, but the percentage of their resources dedicated to original reporting is substantially less. And those tend to be sites, by the way, that align with his particular point of view. So Huffington Post, Vox, BuzzFeed, things like that. He's given interviews to comedian Galifianakis. He did an interview with the guy who does a podcast in a garage. I'll tell you who hasn't done an interview with since the end of his first year in office. He hasn't done an interview with us despite repeated requests. And I don't mention this just because I bear a grudge, although I do bear a grudge. And a sort of Boston-style grudge on this one, but a real grudge. And you know, there are other major news organizations that haven't been able to get interviews either. And I know that the staff there, when we've made requests, they've asked us, you know, what is the size of your audience? What is your traffic? What percentage of your audience are millennials? All the kinds of things that the president himself said he abhorred. And so I think that there is a high level of hypocrisy in what the president said the other day. I don't disagree with him on any of those subjects, but I'm not sure he's the best messenger on the subject.